Is
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May it take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest, may you catch your breath. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa! May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. 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 May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions, though immeasurable wealth. May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guesses always be correct. And may you win prizes shining like diamonds. May you really own it each moment to the next. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Whoa! May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Oh, well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. 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 Oh, I want you to have it all. All you can imagine. Oh, no matter what your path is, if you believe it, then anything can happen. Go, go, go. Raise your glasses. Go, go, go. You can have it all. I told you, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. 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 I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we gonna have. Here's to you always making me laugh. Here's to the fact that I'd be sad without you. I want you to have it all. All the life she has seen, oh, the meanest side of me. They took away the prophet's dream for a prophet on the street. Now she's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. All his life he's been told he'll be nothing when he's old. All the kicks and all the blows, he won't ever let it show. Cause he's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. It's all superhuman strength to fly. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been working every day and night. It's all superhuman strength to fly. just right. You see fire in their eyes, 'cause he's stronger than you know. A heart of steel starts to grow. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been struggling to make things right. It's all superheroes that fly. Every hour to the day. When you've been fighting for it all your life, you've been working every day and night. It's all superheroes that fly. Every hour to the day. It's a power.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Lily Banning, and I am the Community Impact Director at the American Heart Association. We are so grateful that you're here this morning as we kick off our first industry-wide training series. And we're here because heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. And in fact, a person dies every 38 seconds from cardiovascular disease. These numbers are tragically reflected in the construction industry, and that is why we are here today. The craft workers, construction professionals are disproportionately impacted by heart disease, and that's why American Heart Association is committed to our Hard Hats with Heart initiative. This campaign focuses on improving the heart health of the industry so that we see an end to statistics like 1 in 25 craft workers have diabetes, or 1 in 4 are struggling with obesity. 1 in 4 craft workers are diagnosed with high blood pressure. And these are staggering statistics that we'll share more and give you more resources around. But as we kick off, a couple of housekeeping items. Just want everyone to know that today's discussion is in the webinar format. That just means that we cannot see you, but we still want to hear from you. So we'll have time at the end of the program for audience Q&A, but don't hesitate to write any questions that come up in the chat. Make sure to choose all panelists and attendees from the drop-down menu when you're writing those questions in. So if we can try it out just to see, make sure people are here and with us, type in the chat where you're joining us today. If you are in Portland, or if you're out in Hillsborough, or in your living room, or your car, type in the chat, make sure to select all panelists and attendees, and we will get started. So today we are focused on hypertension, which is known as high blood pressure. Through this training, you'll learn why blood pressure management is important, how an individual can control their blood pressure, and how a job site can support blood pressure management. We have 2 guest speakers joining us today, Travis Baker and Dr. Eldina Nizamek. And we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to kick this off with a very powerful video that highlights the importance of this conversation. So take a look.
150/90. As a federal law enforcement officer responsible for deterring human smuggling, I felt absolutely bulletproof when the doctors told me to change my diet, go on medication, lower my stress levels, and I didn't listen. You know, just because you feel great doesn't mean that there's not a problem. November 5th, I got off work, went home, and I was playing catch with my oldest son. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't move my left arm. Turned out to be a full-blown major stroke. And then I had my second and third stroke, and followed into brain surgery to repair the damage. Very hard to imagine that I've been termed disabled. I've had to learn to swallow again. My memory is absolutely shot. The foot, I have no movement. 0. That's, yeah, head to toe. Everything's changed. If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation. I was 40 years old.
Wow. Uh, what a powerful video, and it really highlights the importance of this conversation we're going to have. Welcome, everyone. Andersen Construction has joined forces with the American Heart Association through the Hard Hats with Hearts campaign, as Lily pointed out, to bring awareness to the health disparities that exist in our very own industry and work together to create some sustainable change. I'd like to start off by telling you the few reasons that I got involved with Hard Hats with Heart. And the first is just our community. It's truly heartbreaking how many preventable deaths we have right here in our own backyard. Nearly half of all US adults, those are our family members, our friends, our neighbors, or coworkers, nearly half have high blood pressure, and most don't even know it. It is truly the silent killer. An estimated 80% of cardiovascular disease, including heart disease and stroke, are preventable. And blood pressure is the #1 most treatable risk factor. And near and dear to my heart, and why all of you are here today, is the construction industry. Unfortunately, and Lily pointed this out as well, it's even worse in our field, disproportionately worse. 1 in 4 craft workers have high blood pressure and are at high risk for a heart attack and stroke. A physically demanding job comes with many risks, one of them being your health. And the number of people I know who are affected by heart disease and stroke is astonishing. And it truly motivates me to make a difference. So changing the culture of our industry begins with each one of us. It takes action, both individually and organizationally. The dialogue around the urgent need to address and improve health within our industry has started, and your attendance today shows your commitment. So I want to thank each and every one of you for taking a minute and joining us this morning. As you listen today, I encourage you to think about your sphere of influence. Can you make a personal change? Can you support a colleague? Can you educate your team? Can you lead change within your organization? Each yes to one of those questions moves us in the right direction. Through education, accountability, and access to tools, which is really at the heart, no pun intended, of what Hard Hats with Heart is doing, is creating a set of tools and education and awareness. But with all of that, we can make a difference for a healthier workforce. So that's why Andersen is so honored to support the American Heart Association's Hard Hats with Heart initiative. And we're excited to be here today to talk about this important topic. With that, I'm going to hand it back to you, Lily, to lead today's topic and conversation.
Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you all for your support. As we were discussing, hypertension, which is also known as high blood pressure, is the leading cause of heart disease and stroke. Nearly half of American adults have high blood pressure, and many don't even know they have it. And if you have high blood pressure, you're not alone. It does not discriminate. It affects people of all ages, of all genders, races, and ethnicities. And if you know someone with high blood pressure or maybe experience it yourself and you're comfortable, type a 1 into the chat so we can just see how the prevalence of this and how people are navigating. Feel free to chat. Thank you. So we're going to start with some basics. What is blood pressure and what do those numbers mean? When your heart's beating, it pumps blood through your blood vessels, and this creates pressure against those blood vessel walls. This blood pressure allows your blood to flow to all parts of your body. And as you can see here, blood pressure is recorded as 2 numbers. It's written as a ratio. So here you see 117/76. That top number is the systolic number. It's the higher of the 2, and it measures the pressure in your arteries when your heart is beating. The lower number, which is also going to be lower of the 2, it measures the pressure in your arteries when the heart is resting. So there are 5 blood pressure ranges as defined by the American Heart Association, and we're all aiming for that green range, that 120/80. High blood pressure or hypertension is blood pressure measured at 130/80 or above that orange level. Uncontrolled high blood pressure can lead to disability and poor quality of life. And as you saw from that video, even fatal heart attacks and stroke. If the pressure is constantly too high, it can be quietly damaging your body for years before symptoms develop. That looks like damaged and narrowed arteries, damage to your heart. So over time, that strain on your heart can cause the heart muscle to weaken and work less efficiently. It can be damage to the brain, and that looks like stroke or dementia, damage to your kidneys, and many more consequences. So now that we've learned the basics, let's talk a little bit about myths and facts. And these are things we hear out in the field all the time. The first myth is, I got a high reading, but I feel fine. And the reality is that high blood pressure is known as the silent killer for just this reason. Most of the time, high blood pressure has no obvious symptoms to indicate that something's wrong. And that's why many people live with it without even knowing. The second myth is high blood pressure runs in my family, so there's nothing I can do to prevent it. High blood pressure can run in families. If your parents or your close blood relatives have high blood pressure, you're more likely to develop it too. But lifestyle choices have allowed many people with family history of high blood pressure to avoid it themselves. Those are lifestyle choices like eliminating tobacco use or having a healthy diet, managing a healthy weight, and managing your stress and physical activity. The third myth is, I have high blood pressure, but my doctor checks it for me. And this is something we hear all the time because it's something that you think, okay, I check the box, I go to the doctor, but blood pressure fluctuates. And if you haven't been going to the doctor regularly or checking your BP regularly, these numbers can change. That's why we're going to talk a lot about home monitoring and how monitoring your blood pressure from your home can provide your doctor with some of that critical information, especially given that with COVID, so many people are not going to see their doctors as regularly as they used to. And the last myth is, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, but I've been maintaining lower readings, so I can probably stop taking my medication. And this is really where we run into trouble. High blood pressure can be a lifelong disease, and it's very important that you're following your healthcare professional's recommendations carefully, even if that means taking medication every day for the rest of your life. But like I said, there are other lifestyle changes around diet and physical activity that can support that ongoing blood pressure management. And really, it's about partnering with that healthcare provider so that you can find the treatment goal that works for you and really enjoy the benefits of improved heart health. As I mentioned, one of the best ways to monitor your blood pressure is to check it regularly. And that looks like having one of these blood pressure cuffs. We really encourage people to purchase one. They are available at your local pharmacies, on Amazon. They cost between $40 and $50. And they've made them so simple. There's one button to press, they're battery operated. You are just going to put that cuff on, you rest your arm on a table or a ledge so that it's supported, have your feet flat on the floor and press that one button. It takes less than 30 seconds to actually read your blood pressure. And it is painless, I assure you. The American Heart Association has several resources to tell you how to use your cuff once you purchase it. But we really encourage you to take those readings at the same time each day. It's important to note that many things will affect your blood pressure numbers. If you got less sleep, if you had caffeine, stress, even a full bladder. So that's why it's important to mark that time and take it at the same time each day and track your results. There are so many tracking devices available, so find a tool that works for you. We often say it can be as simple as a piece of paper that you put on your bedside and then you're keeping that log. You can be sending yourself a text, an email, however you track your progress, share those readings with your doctor, and then you can discuss what changes are needed. Talk about those lifestyle adjustments, and then you get to watch your numbers lower as you're quitting smoking, reducing your sodium, as you're more physically active. But this is a main tool for how an individual can manage their blood pressure. So we know that the majority of us spend our days mostly at work. That's our environment. So it's really important that an individual who's wanting to make a change in their life, they will be more successful if the environment at work supports that healthy habit. So I'm going to dive deeper into these tips for how a job site or work environment can support improved blood pressure management. One of the easiest things for a company to do is increase education and awareness of these health issues. Travis mentioned this earlier, and thankfully, the American Heart Association has the tool for you. We have created an entire industry-specific resource hub. You'll see the link right there in the chat. And this is dedicated to making this easy. We are so grateful to have the feedback and the expertise of our industry leaders, our Hard Hats with Heart ambassadors and cabinet members, who I know several are joining us today, who serve as advisors in creating this hub. And the resource hub is filled with toolbox talks, with accompanying discussion guides to use during your stretch and flex meetings, your safety huddles. There are posters to print out, infographics, and videos like the one that we saw today across several different heart health topics that can be incorporated into meetings and team emails. This is all free of cost and available for the entire construction industry. Another way that a job site can support blood pressure management is providing access to blood pressure resources. So if it is possible in your space to dedicate a small room or even just a corner to create a self-monitoring station, the cost to set this up is minimal, but the impact can be very huge. The key is to really make this work. It needs to be properly communicated and promoted amongst your team so that people are actually utilizing it, and you're maintaining the cleanliness of the station. The American Heart Association can provide a checklist of what to include and how to properly set it up, as well as how to store and sanitize your BP station. And this is something that if it's physically on the job site, people are more likely to use it. And then it could be something that they're comparing when they're using their blood pressure cuff at home. Another tactic is just provide access to the resources, utilize some of these blood pressure resources in your team meetings, in huddles and email blasts and newsletters, or any other internal communication channels. The more that you are sharing this out, the more that you are articulating how important this is to you and showing the support for all of your colleagues. And you can visit the resource hub for flyers on how to take your blood pressure, what do your levels mean. All of these educational materials are available. One of the fastest and most direct ways to encourage a healthy behavior change is making that healthy choice the easy choice. I say that if there is one thing that you take away from this training today, make the healthy choice the easy choice. And putting this motto into practice requires us to really remove barriers that individuals face when they're trying to live a healthy lifestyle. It's important to look at the bigger picture and the environment where you live and where you work, because this presents challenges for people who are trying to make improvements, like managing their blood pressure. So the more steps you can take to create that healthier work environment, you will help people lower their blood pressure. And we encourage you can start by looking at the food options and the food policies that you have on site, because nutrition is such an important factor for blood pressure, and it's a really good one for an employer to address. Start by reviewing your own company's food policies, if you have any. Does your company provide guidance on vending machines, on what companies cater your meetings? If not, it's worth creating one. And if you do have one, does that policy support heart health? The American Heart Association has created a healthy food and beverage toolkit that was just the link dropped in the chat for employers to use. And this toolkit guides you through step by step how to create those policies, how to talk to vendors, how to talk to caterers. These are policies and practices that are not easy to put in place. And we know that, especially a practice like changing a diet. These are difficult and they take time. So leadership buy-in will be key. While policy changes are great to create a company-wide movement towards healthy food options, it's also important to think about what food or eating environment you have and what does it communicate to your employees. The example that we give are all the microwaves functioning and cleaned regularly? Do you provide refrigerators or space for lunch boxes or coolers? Because these are the things that tell your team that they should be bringing their lunch from home. It's encouraging them and it's making it easier for them to pack their own food, and you've just removed a barrier. So think about, even when people aren't bringing their own food, what food and drinks do you offer to employees? If it's a hot day, which we recently had our heat wave, and you want to treat your team to a cool down break, is it better to bring ice cream or a fruit popsicle? Or instead of tubs of Gatorade, could you be making sure that there are hydration stations filled with water that is infused with fruit? Or if you aren't willing to give up ice cream altogether, can you at least offer people a choice? Bring them both. Let them choose. Let people have their preference. And if it's been a long week and you want to treat your team to a morning treat, is it better to bring donuts or bagels? So these are some of the options that we'll walk through in that beverage kit, the food and beverage kit. Additionally, tobacco is a big risk factor for blood pressure. And by creating a tobacco-free environment, you are really supporting people's overall heart health. Many companies have a tobacco policy in place, but it sometimes doesn't cover job sites, or worse, it's in place, but it's not always followed. That's what we hear often out in the field. Also, with the changes in how tobacco is being consumed in recent years, has your policy been updated lately to address vaping and e-cigarettes or chewing? These are some of the fine details, but they can make a really big difference as an organization is committed to creating that healthy environment. And the American Heart Association has created policy recommendations for tobacco. And if your policy needs tweaking or updates, we recommend that you discuss that with your leadership. Another important step in tobacco cessation is equipping your job site leaders with those cessation resources to refer people to. And AHA has compiled a list of those resources, and we're happy to provide that for your use. So part of creating that healthy environment is ensuring that there's also a culture of health to support it. And that idea of a culture of health is not to eliminate choice, but simply promote and encourage healthy ones. Remember, you're making the healthy choice the easy choice. And as we said, changing culture takes time and commitment and starts with each one of you. You can start by making your own change, no matter how small. You can think about quitting smoking. If you're adding fruit to your day, you're eliminating one energy drink a week. You can lead by example and make sure to encourage and support your team members or your peers as they are considering making their own changes. If anyone has a success story and is willing to share, encourage them to do so, because whether that's individually or publicly, success breeds success, and hearing firsthand what changes were made and how progress inspires others. Sometimes the change can feel insurmountable, but if we see somebody else do it first, it can make a big difference. And the key to a culture of health is being supportive and listening. We talk about how important it is to acknowledge how hard it is to make a change, especially related to your health. And if we can learn to treat those inevitable setbacks as expected moments that really will require reflection and compassion and problem solving, this will likely increase the chances of changing that small behavior into a regular habit. So at this point, I would like to transition to our question and answer section and welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Eldina Nizamek, to come on screen with me.
Good morning, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nizamek. Dr. Nizamek is a supervising physician at Zoom Care, and we are very grateful to have her here today to answer any questions you all have around hypertension. So please feel free to write those questions in the chat and select all panelists and attendees when you write that in. So thank you, Dr. Nizamek, for joining us today. I have a few questions to ask you while we wait for people to gather and absorb some of this information. And the first one that came to us was, at what point should I tell my colleagues to go to the doctor? So what are those signs to know when you need blood pressure medication?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So in general, I would just reiterate what was told earlier today, that elevated blood pressure typically does not cause any symptoms. But it can still be serious. And we heard the word or phrase silent killer. So when your doctor or a nurse tells you your blood pressure is high, that really means that one of those numbers, 120/80, or actually above 130/80, means a high blood pressure. So we all know that the top number is 130. That is high, means the pressure inside the arteries when heart is contracting and pumping that blood, and the bottom number is the pressure of the arteries when it's the heart is relaxed. And if any of those numbers is high, we have a problem with a high blood pressure. And if it's too much pressure in your arteries, just like a tire pumped with too much air. So over time, this extra pressure can cause damage and raise our chances of heart disease, stroke, and kidney disease. And so if your numbers qualify as a high blood pressure, or you have any questions, or if we have any questions in regards to our blood pressure, we should really talk to our doctor. And our doctors and your doctor will first probably suggest that you try lifestyle changes first before adding any medications, any drugs. And in addition to drugs, unless you have any other problems, sometimes we have to start medications immediately. So that's pretty much, guidelines are different. Medical professionals will most often have great tailored approach to just your individual need. So I hope that's.
Thank you. We did get a question, since you're speaking about lifestyle adjustments. If you could prioritize those lifestyle changes, which should I recommend someone address first in order to improve their blood pressure?
Yes. Wow. There is no a single one that I would identify as the most important, but I will mention them, a few of them that are really important. Losing weight, if we are overweight, or if our weight is way too high for our height, then checking with our medical professional as well and discussing about that. What is a healthy weight? And choosing a diet that's low in fat and rich in fruit and veggies and low fat dairy products. That's so crucial. And it sounds like we all know that, but we do not necessarily follow that. So that's important to remember each time we're making these choices. For a morning breakfast, like you mentioned, is it a donut or a bagel or a piece of fruit as a snack? Eating more fish may help to lower blood pressure, especially when combined with weight loss. Reducing the amount of salt, that's really one of the important aspects of our diet. This may mean reducing the intake of and eating less of a packaged and processed food, and maybe eating food from restaurants. So the optimal goal is less than 1.5 grams a day. It's very hard to measure that, but following those nutrition labels may help. Stopping smoking, I can't emphasize how important that is. And of course, physical activity, and do something active for at least 30 minutes a day. And I understand that most of our sometimes our job is actually to be active all day long, and that is what is done. But thinking about that even on days when we're not working, when we're on vacation or over the weekend, just staying active, cutting down on alcohol. I can go on and on and on. Alcohol actually is extremely important, not to mention something like drinking more than 2 drinks per day has been associated with elevated blood pressure. And especially something called binge drinking, when people leave that for a moment, for a weekend or relaxation, when and binge drinking is consuming 4 to 5 drinks within 2 hours. So that's even a greater problem and risk factor for elevating blood pressure. So those are things that I would suggest thinking about when we're trying to control our blood pressure. Back to you, Lily.
Those are incredibly helpful tips, and thank you for being so specific around just knowing the number of drinks or the sodium intake. So you're sharing a lot of those tips for how an individual can manage their blood pressure or keep it lower. But can you also share a little bit more about how someone can keep their blood pressure lower at work, or what the employer can do?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great perspective. I think raising awareness around us is very important, and our employers can provide periodic blood pressure screening and health risk assessment programs at the work site. So this could be done through occupational health clinics, health fairs, providing brochures, informational letters, videos, newsletters. So those are all potential venues where we can offer more information to people who work for our company. So those are sometimes human resources, actually staff can provide information about the benefits and availability of screening to encourage and motivate employees to be screened, or provide and make sure that there is a resource like lifestyle counseling, health coaches, and health educators. And that might be actually a life defining moment. So we can do that. And these are telephone typically, or face-to-face interviews provided to our workers. So offering diet, exercise, smoking cessation programs, encourage medication adherence. Sometimes employers can integrate their medical and pharmacy benefits together to close those gaps. And that's also important to take a look at that, and making sure that our people can actually have good access and easy access to their medications if they need them. Wellness programs. And you mentioned earlier something very important, as simple as self-monitoring BP station. Having that available at our companies and within reach of our workers is so important. This is important across the board, not just the company we're talking about today. It's just in general so important to have that. And that could be a station where people can see pamphlets and find brochures or more information about how to be healthy. Not necessarily just about high blood pressure, but just in general about good lifestyle.
That's incredibly helpful to hear. One of the attendees asked that they've heard potassium is important, but harder to get in the American diet. Are there any suggestions on where to get more potassium to help reduce blood pressure?
Oh, yes. I think that in general, we talked always, and when I talk with my patients, I say even an inch of banana has some potassium, and we think inch and a half was about 10 milliequivalents. Doesn't matter. I don't want to confuse everyone with those measures, but obviously bananas and beet and fresh fruit in general and vegetables have a lot of good potassium and in general electrolytes. I would say, rather than having some processed or over-the-counter potassium pills or medications or anything that is necessary, I think in food that's rich in fresh fruit and veggies is plentiful with potassium and other nutrients.
Thank you. We also got a question for employees who express concern talking to a doctor about high blood pressure and not feeling heard. Do you have any tips on how to ease their concerns so that they can get the help they need?
The most important role of us doctors is actually to teach our patients about how to stay healthy and how to gain health if they are not feeling good. So that's the first role. That's I think I always mention to my patients. I'm a teacher. Docent or docere from the Latin word comes from a word teacher, teaching. So that's. If there is a miscommunication, if there is a concern and the doctor cannot necessarily, so paraphrasing and rephrasing it and asking your doctor more specific questions. On the other side, whenever you mentioned something, there is a concern that doctor doesn't understand and doesn't hear patients well, people well. Is that what you mentioned, Lily? Just clarify.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just maybe they're trying to bring something up, but they're maybe a little uncomfortable. And the doctor's not really hearing them. They're not feeling like they're being really listened to well.
Okay, so one of the most important things and one of the messages I would always like to bring up and share with people, with my patients, with my colleagues, with my family members, it's we are in control in this, and we can. We should, and we can do it. We can ask our doctors as many questions as we want. Obviously, medical providers are supposed to have time, and sometimes in a busy environment, they may seem like they do not seem interested in it, and finding other ways to do it. Very rarely we need to seek for a second opinion, but in general, just asking our providers to teach us more about the role of the blood pressure and how to measure that, how to monitor it, how to control it, how to work as a team, and bringing that provider to be on board with you. We really want our providers, our patients, and in general, people around us to be drivers of their car, to be activated and to be motivated to ask questions. Definitely feel free to ask questions. This is your health, and empower yourself with more knowledge. Read as much as you can and ask as many questions as you want, because this is your health, and I encourage everyone to be in control of it.
That's very empowering to hear the opportunity there. We also got a question that somebody said that they hear that the new smart watches like Apple Watches can measure your blood pressure. Are those accurate?
Yeah, well, in general, we do not necessarily. So American Heart Association does recommend actually checking doing the arm blood pressure. So blood pressure monitoring. So blood pressure is variable throughout the day, and it changes, and we need to check that morning and evening. That's what's really recommended. But in general, when we have smartwatch, we actually see it all the time, and it's not primarily a blood pressure monitoring device that we advise our patients to get. It's a fitness tracker. However, some of them are so sophisticated, they can actually give us quite accurate blood pressure levels. So this is what I typically tell my patients. All home monitors, is it a wrist or arm, should be checked for accuracy initially, and then at least annually in the clinician's office. And everyone should be able to demonstrate the correct technique of the blood pressure measurement. Obviously, with a wrist watch, we don't have to do anything. We just put it on our wrist and measure it, and it's right there. But some, as I mentioned, wrist blood pressure monitors may be accurate and if used exactly as directed. And sometimes we can't really measure arm blood pressure because of the size or some other problems of the arm, upper arm, and then we actually rely on wrist devices. So in general, if you can check that against doctor's office and medical office where blood pressure cuffs are regularly calibrated. So if you can measure that once a year and make sure that that's actually reliable, then we can count on them. But in general, we do recommend just a regular blood pressure cuff to measure.
Thank you. That's really helpful. So we have time for one last question, and it is that we have a lot of different companies represented here today. So as we wrap things up, do you have any final tips, recommendations for these employers that are tuning in and hopefully eager to help support their workforce?
Yes, thank you. That's I always remind, starting from myself and people I work with, our good health starts with us. So your good health starts with you. And I would encourage everyone to think about that and communicate with their employees and their employers about the ways how they can improve their health. Taking steps to reduce our risk of disease and talking with our healthcare provider is also a very, very important step. Reading as much as we can and thinking about that on a daily basis, incorporating it in everyday life, in diet, and whenever we're going on vacation, whatever we're doing over the weekend and time off work, that's also important. Talking with our employers about stress management, resources that we can do. There's no one without stress nowadays, but there's so much we can do. So your good health starts with you.
Those are wise words to close. Thank you so much, Dr. Nizamek, for your time and your insight today. We so appreciate you. So our last little plug here is that if you liked today's session, please register for our next training in this series. Our next topic, we will be diving into tobacco cessation on August 19th. And following the end of this meeting, you will be redirected. Your browser will pop up to a brief post survey. Please, please share your feedback. We create these trainings with all of you in mind, and they are driven by you. And we would love to hear what you've learned and any input you have. And if you fill out this quick survey, you'll be entered to win a Starbucks gift card. So there is even more reason to join us. So if any additional questions come up, please reach out. My contact information is there on the screen. And thank you again all for your time. Thank you to our two speakers, Travis and Dr. Nizamek. It has been wonderful being here with you all this morning, and we're looking forward to the next training. Thank you. Take care.